Good morning, everybody. Today it is July the 6th in the year 2023. It is 11 a.m. and we're coming to you on a Thursday, which is not a very typical thing for us. But with the July 4th holiday in the United States, and we're a United States company, we weren't able to go bring the show to you on Monday. So we're going to bring you an abbreviated show today. So this is going to be a 1-hour show rather than a 2-hour show because it's kind of on an off schedule, and I got to hop to another thing that's immediately following this. So I'm Aggrod. I'm founder and CEO of Splinterlands. We have a pretty fun show for you guys today. This is a town hall where we're going to go talk about a whole bunch of stuff. And frankly, today is a day that a whole bunch of stuff actually hits. So why don't we do a team stand up, and everybody can kind of talk about the myriad of things that are going on. Let's do this in show order. So, Investigator, if you want to go kick us off with what you're going to be talking about.
Okay, I'm going to be talking about the update that's going to be happening in about 28 minutes from now, probably very quickly since I need to actually go do the update.
Nice. Matt.
That mute button gets me every time. Mainly about the new SPS staking multiplier that's going out today. Maybe a bit about the governance proposal that's currently live. And if we have time, I could talk about some, future land stuff that I've been working on.
Ooh, yeah, I think people would be excited for that. Weirdbeard, what are you here to talk about?
Just that we're getting stuff out the door and some of our hopes and dreams for the next couple of months.
Nice. I like hopes and dreams. And of course, Nate, what's on your brain for today, Nate?
Yeah, I mean, everything that was just mentioned was pretty exciting. I could probably support that with visuals or whatnot, but the main thing's probably going to be land. So, yeah.
Rock on. All right. Well, let's go start with Investigator. That poor man is pulling double duty right now, and that he's both talking about the update and actually updating the server. Why don't you tell us kind of the high notes of what we're going after today?
Okay, it is a pretty big update today. The biggest thing that's going to impact everybody is the changes for the ranked rewards and basically the rank system, in that we are removing the collection power requirements for leagues, and instead we are going to be going with a staked SPS adjusted reward system that Matt will be talking about in more detail after this. As part of that, we are going to be rolling out a SPS rental market. So that is going to be off of your SPS management page. There will be a new sub-tab that's a market. We are also implementing a number of the DAO proposals. So Rift Watchers will be switched to being sold for 5,000 DEC instead of $5 worth of USD. Market fees will be implemented as a set 6% fee, with 2% of that being burnt and 4% going to the market. There is a large number of fixes for the tech monetization market and card collection pages. We have added a new link in the footer to the Splinter Lore website, so you can go read all the lore that the creative team has been working on. We are removing nightmare packs from the store since July 1st was the end date, but this is the next actual update that's happened. We are adding a link to the release notes on the welcome back pop-up message, so people have a better idea of where to go to see what's been changed. One note regarding the changes with SPS delegation, unstaking and canceling unstaking will now require active key authority. They probably should have, since it's a financially related transaction. And I think those are the high points. There is a small cleanup to the way rental fees display for the first time you make a payment. And yeah, I think that those are the high points of what is going out today.
So other than that, there's not a whole lot. Is that fair?
Yeah. We actually got a bunch of other fixes that we didn't have time to QA for today that'll be going out next time, and probably a lot more to talk about in the next town hall. But yeah, that should be it for today.
Are you sweating bullets? Do you feel like we're in an okay spot, or is this going to be like some 10-hour update?
I don't think it'll be too long. It'll be average. Yeah, most of these changes, the biggest changes are the ranked rewards and the SPS changes. So it'll be interesting to see how those play out. But in terms of actually deploying stuff, it's pretty much what we do every time.
Okay. All right. Well, I don't want to keep you. Thanks for sharing what's going out. Many blessings of success on a Thursday release cycle. Hopefully, this stuff is a-okay, and we don't have problems that drag us into the weekend. So everybody, knock on wood. Let's send some good vibes and warm thoughts to the development team. And thanks for kind of keeping us in the loop of what's happening today.
Thank you for having me on, and see you next time.
Rock on. Okay, you guys might know this other gentleman. He's been around here for a little while. He's the other co-founder. He's Matt. Welcome, Matt. Good to have you on the show.
Hey.
So I guess you were we have a couple little things that we're doing. There's like a lot of stuff happening today. So I guess like let's talk about some of the small ones or the smaller things real quick, just to make sure that we get to them. So I guess I'm going to go in a little bit of reverse order here. Any thoughts about the Rift Watchers for DEC that you want to share?
Oh, I mean, yeah, I've basically been parroting this for like the last year or so, that kind of the whole design of this entire economy and the system is that products are priced in DEC. And then SPS gets burned for DEC, or is able to be burned for DEC. So, the whole system kind of doesn't work if we don't have enough products that have enough demand priced in DEC. So it's my goal that we constantly have more and more products as we go forward, all priced in DEC. That's what's going to constantly give DEC value. And so Rift Watchers packs is one of the major products that is available for sale right now. So I think that's a pretty big deal that kind of goes in line with our overall plan for the economy.
Yeah, there's something like 2 million packs left, and at $5 a pack, that's like $10 million. It's not quite a sink because it's not actually destroyed, but I've been sometimes using the term depot. It's like a little depot. So not quite a sink, but like a really good reservoir, or like a temporary storage just sitting with the DAO, because we're not quite spending DAO DEC to do stuff yet.
Yeah, I mean, it could be. It's up to the DAO to decide what to do with it. But the DAO is selling the Rift Watchers packs, so they get the earnings from it.
Yeah, and I totally agree with you that we need the more things that we price in DEC, and going forward, you guys can expect that basically everything will have a DEC price associated with it.
I plan to also propose at some point we start burning Rift Watchers packs, to get them to start selling. And again, that'll be a way to get more revenue, more money for the DAO, more value for DEC if those packs start going, and then the airdrops come out. I think that'll be good long term. Okay.
Nightmare packs. So we discontinued those. July 1st was a target. It's frustrating to me because the game isn't out there and live, and we still have more work that we want to do on this thing. But just so the community knows, we're going to stop selling nightmare packs. We weren't selling a ton of them anyways right now, just with the markets being what the markets are. It's been slow anyways. So I don't think that's going to like seriously harm the business one way or the other. But yeah, we're taking those off the market for now, and hopefully in the hopefully in the not too distant future, we'll actually have that game operating, running, and players are able to play. Anything you want to add about nightmare packs coming off?
No, I mean, I think, there was a bit of an oversupply of those, so that makes sense. And we'll see what happens in the future when the game goes live and we see how everything's going. If there's a large demand for packs, we can maybe do some governance proposals and see what the community wants to do.
The market fee going to 2%. So this is another thing that tweaks the amount of DEC that's burned or used or taken out of circulation. So I'm assuming that you're a big fan of this as well.
Yeah, it's all part of the overall ecosystem design, and we get like each one of these things by themselves isn't going to move the needle. Like we're not going to see, oh, Rift Watchers packs for price in DEC now all of a sudden it goes, through the moon or to par value. Same with the market, but it's just like all these things compounded together will just help move it in the right direction over time.
You have a proposal up that's regarding soulbound cards. Do you want to just quickly explain it? Why you like it and why you think we ought to be doing this?
Yeah, I mean, initially, it was one of those things where I guess it just wasn't thought through, in my opinion, fully when we were initially designing the white paper, which is always the case. I mean, it's just impossible to think through everything all the time. So my thought initially was that since they're soul bound and they can't be traded, each individual account doesn't have that many of them. Um, so it's no big deal if they can be used on land. Maybe they get a few plots where they can put their soul bound cards. But then once players effectively brought up that the bot army accounts or people with a lot of accounts can just send their land plots, spread the land plots across multiple accounts, and then make use of basically an unlimited number of reward cards. That to me seemed like it could be a major problem, especially considering like one of the biggest points and purposes of land is to soak up excess cards in the ecosystem and give more value to cards, especially older cards in general. So I was particularly concerned about that aspect, and I just think the potential upsides of limiting that or requiring DEC to be burned for those to be used far outweigh the downsides of like some people being annoyed that they would have to burn DEC or use other cards on land. I mean, that seems a small number of people, a small number of cards versus like potentially fixing a major problem with the land economy.
Cool. All right. Those are like the all the smaller ones. That leaves us kind of with the big deal for today is this whole SPS staking requirement and SPS staking market. This was a pretty fast turnaround for us to go from, it's been in the white paper for 2 years, but here's kind of the specs of how it ought to work, and now it's been implemented relatively quickly. Why do you think we as a company like really prioritize this? Where do you see the benefit? And any thoughts on what we're implementing today, especially with any of the criticism that you've heard about what we're implementing today?
Yeah, I mean, the speed of it is because we haven't gotten to the full plan outlined in the white paper or that we hope to achieve. And since that's a much bigger project, we wanted to, since it's been almost 2 years now, um, get at least something out and go in that direction as quickly as possible. So this is a much simpler implementation that I think is going to, you know, help significantly with providing value to SPS. There seems to be a lot of confusion about like what it says in the white paper and how this is moving in that direction. So to be clear, there are two pools in the white paper that are pools of SPS that are concerned with this. One is the SPS ranked battle reward pool, and one is the SPS staking rewards pool. So the reward pool where you just stake SPS and you get a return in SPS. In the white paper, it specifies that both of those pools should be limited by the amount of SPS that is staked on players. So if you want to earn SPS from ranked battles, you need SPS staked on you. And if you want to earn SPS just via staking it, you would need to actually stake it on players that win battles. So just to be clear, both of those pools are already live and they are just much less restrictive than they were planned to be in the white paper. So everyone who's been participating in both of those pools have been earning more easily than was initially intended, which is fine. That was an initial implementation. But so now it's some people have been saying like, oh, you're not adding this other pool or something, and you're penalizing people, but there is no other pool. So it's not like there's this other pool of SPS that was like sitting and waiting, and we're like deciding not to put that in. Both pools are there. People have been earning from them, um, without requiring SPS to be staked on people playing battles for the last almost 2 years. So now we're just starting to implement that main utility of SPS. Whereas if you want to earn from the ranked battle reward pool, you will need to have SPS staked on you, which is clearly the intention of the white paper. And in the future, we hope to make it so that if you have staked SPS, you don't just automatically earn SPS from that, but you actually have to like delegate that staked SPS out to players who are playing battles, and that will be the method that you earn from that. That's what's much more difficult, and we'll get to hopefully at some point in the future. But for the meantime, it is what I believe is 100% the plan and the direction of the white paper is that you must have staked SPS either in your account or delegated to you in order to earn from that ranked reward pool.
And why is that so important? We've been doing this for 2 years. Why should we get this out now? Why not just keep ignoring it? And why is it beneficial to the community as a whole? Like what good does it do to say you have to stake SPS if you want to be earning as much SPS as possible?
I mean, that's the whole point of SPS. That's like the primary utility, and it's possible, since it has been a while, that people may forget that, right? But that is like the main point of SPS. Yes, there's governance, and there's other rewards, but kind of the main purpose of SPS is the gating mechanism for earning rewards within the game. So the whole idea is you earn SPS from playing, right? The higher you rank up, the more wins you have, etc. Gold cards, other things get you more SPS. And up until now, there's been not a lot of reason for people to hold on to that SPS. So a lot of people are just like, well, I can just keep earning my rewards. I'm just going to sell off this SPS as I get it. But that's not, how we build a long-term sustainable system. So we want people who play the game and who are good at the game and who have the cards to earn the SPS. And then we want them to hold it or even possibly buy more in order for them to keep earning at a higher level. So, I mean, it's really the whole design and purpose of SPS within this ecosystem.
Oftentimes we're accused of things like whatever we do, it's a giant money grab. Do you see this as a way for the company to make money, or how does this fit in? Is this something that's beneficial to the community, something that harms the community? Is it something that's just for the whales? How would you place this development, or like, where do you see the benefit really going to?
Well, I mean, the only way the company makes money is because we are a holder of SPS alongside with our community members. That's generally how we try to structure things. Whereas that if we're doing well, then everyone's doing well. So not if people staking SPS doesn't go to us in any way, but if it ultimately helps the prices of assets and we hold those assets alongside of our players, it'll benefit us that way. But overall, as far as things go, I mean, it's pretty clear what things, our company is selling versus the DAO or just, burning tokens or assets. And we had sold a lot of stuff at the end of last year. And now we haven't really sold much of anything in a long time. I mean, Chaos Legion packs have been done. We did a promo card sale, but that was about it. So, we're sort of not selling things from the company side for a while, making up for all the stuff we sold last year. So all the value is essentially going to the community, which is extra helpful in this bear market. So the company's really on the side of the community and the players, which is one of the unique things about crypto and Web3 than traditional.
All right. I mean, that's a list of things that I had. Is there did we miss any points from those? I know that there's one other topic that you're excited to talk about, but is there anything else that you want to get in about SPS staking or any of the other, DEC for soulbounds or market fees or nightmare packs or Rift Watchers or just anything in general before we move into the 2.0 question set?
Yeah, I don't think so. If we have time at the end, we can take some questions. But that's the main points.
All right. So you have so when we released the 1.5 white paper, it was like, how many pages was that? 20 to 30 or something? How big is the 2.0 white paper so far?
I don't know how big it is so far. I haven't counted the pages. It's definitely going to be bigger.
Yeah. I guess that's what I'm mostly getting at, is that this is going to be another major overhaul and just like huge uh, feature set. Do you want to anything you want to share about that today to just sort of like goose the audience to be excited about what's coming?
Yeah, I wanted to share like kind of the high level plan of how it's being designed, which I hope will be exciting to people because it's exciting for me at least. So there's currently looking to be roughly about like 50 different resources, which will be like tokens that are going to be part of Land 2.0. And for some people, there's a lot of people who always just say, "Oh, more tokens, that's bad. It sounds too complex or whatever." But that's what this whole game is about, right? This it's an economic simulator type of game, right? So if this game only had, if Land only had like a few tokens, a few resources, like in 1.5, it's going to be pretty boring, right? So if you look at 1.5, it is purposely a very watered down, small, kind of basic thing that we can get something out quicker to the community to start playing around with. But in 2.0 is going to be kind of the big full version of the resource production in the buildings. And the goal is that we want to have a really interactive economy. We don't want it to be where everyone, even people who own a whole region, can just produce everything. And they don't have to participate in the markets or with other players or anything like that. So we want it to be as much as possible like a real world economy, where there's supply chains in a way. And you're building sort of your business, and whether you have a whole region or just one plot, you kind of gotta just focus in on certain things, right? And there's a whole bunch of different things you can focus in on. So all these 50 different resources, there's going to be a bunch of natural resources that just come from the land. And then you'll need to sort of combine resources, combine some of the natural resources and using some other resources as, like catalysts or, you know, um, energy sources, to combine these other resources and create refined resources. And then some cases like take some of the refined resources and combine those with other things to create even further refined resources that will ultimately then go to creating um, buildings, the Secret of Praetoria project, and items and spells. So even in phase 2.0, which will be before items and spells are live and available in the game, you'll be able to get a head start on earning, on producing the actual resources that are used to create the items and spells later, so that when they're added to the game, players can just jump right in and start crafting items and spells from day one. That'll be phase 3. Um, but in phase 2, you'll be able to start that. So even if you again have like one plot or a few plots, you'll be able to kind of like pick a niche that you want to fill. So you might have some really good resources on those plots. If it's a magical plot or an occupied plot, you can harvest those. You may may want to build a refinery of some sort. If you have a common plot without a magical resource or anything, you can build a refinery and you can just focus on taking resources in from the market or other players and refining them and then selling your refined resources. You could even build storage facilities, which are going to be needed for adding liquidity. So all the trading that's going to be done between all these players needing all these different resources is going to be through the liquidity pools, also paired against DEC. So there's going to be a lot of extra DEC that's going to need to be paired against these resources in the liquidity pools. And players will not only earn fees by providing liquidity, but there's going to be a special resource that I'm currently calling Elixir. That's going to be like a key resource for the entire land expansion, that you will get by providing liquidity. So you get fees from trades as a liquidity provider, and you'll earn this Elixir resource um, as well, which is the only way you can get this resource. So we want people to provide lots and lots of liquidity. We want very liquid markets. Again, there's going to be like 50 some resources, so they're all going to need liquidity pools. And you can kind of the idea is you can kind of look at what's an underserved kind of niche in your territory or region, and say, oh, in my region, in my territory, there's not a lot of liquidity for Sparkstone, right? So you can just decide on your plots, I want to build Sparkstone storage and provide liquidity, and that might be your business within land and your niche, and that's what you do. Um, and we want to give people the option to, retrofit their buildings if they're doing one thing and they want to change over to doing something else. So that's kind of what the whole game is about. It's like an economic simulation game where you want to build buildings, harvest resources, and kind of build your own business within the game, find your own like niche and where you can provide value. And there's going to be lots and lots of different ways to do that. Um, so I'm pretty excited about the whole like supply chain process of combining and refining resources that we're putting together.
Yeah, that sounds like an awful lot. Is there there might be criticism of having too many tokens or something. I guess you're trying to address that, or like stating, hey, that's what this game is. I mean, is there what, how did you find a balance at somewhere around 50? What made you say, hey, 5 would be too few and 100 would be too many? Like what got you to this spot and saying like, this is the rough balance that we're looking for?
I didn't pick a number. It wasn't like I said 50 and then went and created 50 random resources. I just started going through everything that we're doing. So we already planned out the kind of the natural and magical resources that come from land. So those were already defined ahead of time. Um, and then I went through kind of a process that made sense for combining those resources and all the things that needed to be done. So you need to construct buildings, you need to be able to craft item and spell cards, you need to build the Secret of Praetoria project. And then, within there's all different types of buildings, and obviously there's going to be different types of items and spell cards. So I wanted to just like put different resources that kind of made sense from a sort of lore perspective or like a real world equivalent perspective for doing all those things. And I also wanted to add some resources like for specific things that we want to encourage. So there's also going to be some resources that are land specific that players will be able to earn by playing ranked battles that you'll get in loot chests. Um, there'll be some resources. There'll be a resource specifically for creating item and spell cards that you'll earn by contributing guild power to your guilds. And that doesn't mean that if you only want to participate in land, you can just get those resources on the market. And people who don't participate in land and just play ranked battles and guild battles can earn those resources and sell them to people who use them on land, or people can do both. But my goal is to kind of, intermix all of the different aspects of Splinterlands gameplay. Um, into land. So it's not just like, oh, I just have my land, I get everything I need, and I'm done. There are also things you get from other places around the game, and we can add more in the future. So I went to all those different places. I wanted to add a resource for providing liquidity, like we talked about. There's going to be a resource that you can only get from participating in your castle and keep building, which everyone in the territory, in the region or tract will be able to participate in, and the castle and keep owner will participate in the most. So you'll need to do that in order to get a certain resource. There's special resources you'll get by participating in the Secret of Praetoria construction project. So I went through all those and I put down all the different placeholders for different resources that I wanted for all these different aspects of the game. And then how they would be combined together and how they'd be used. And it ended up roughly in the 40 to 50 range.
Oh, that sounds awesome. Like, I don't know. A lot of these games just have, like you go into StarCraft and it's just gas and minerals. Like that's cool. There's other games where you start getting into like, here's all these different resources that you might use, and it feels more like a Minecraft. It feels more like a World of Warcraft, where like there's just a lot of richness to that crafting as opposed to just like, here's your 2, go after it. So
Yeah,
I'm
and
excited for that.
I wanted there to really be a lot of I don't know what the word is, but like a lot of opportunity and options for people. It's not just everyone just picks, do I mine SPS or do I do research or grain? It's not 3 things. There's going to be 50 or possibly more things that people will be able to do. And the game is about choosing which one and optimizing that thing, and optimizing your supply chains and things like that.
Pretty awesome. Okay. So let's go. We only have a half hour left, so let's try this. Anything else that you want to share for today? Any other topics, or any other like 1.5 changes that you're anticipating or going to put out there?
Yeah, no other changes or topics that I can think of off the top of my head, so we can move on and hopefully take some questions at the end.
All right. Let's now let's go hop over to Weirdbeard for a sec and just talk to him and see, there's a lot that we have to like put into place, and Weirdbeard is the one that's like, tasked to get this team to create these things. How's your brain? Are you entering a one type of psychosis, or like, are you holding up? Is the team holding up? Like, how we doing?
Have you ever seen Saving Private Ryan?
I did see Saving Private Ryan.
You know how at the very beginning where there's like everybody exploding around them and he just enters that moment of calm because it's just like everything's so just chaotic around him. I feel zen this week. Maybe
Wow.
it's the fireworks on Tuesday, or it's just something. But yeah, I'm really happy to be putting out the SPS staking stuff. Like that, getting that out is good. It's pushed out. We have some of these other proposal items that we're tackling. We have it was funny because we actually had one of our devs, Antioch, last night, who he he was the one that did the majority of the SPS staking stuff, and it's going out today. But then he's on the clock because he's in like New Zealand time, I think. And he was just like, "Send me a list," and I was like, "Okay," and send him a whole bunch of like quality of life stuff, because we've talked forever about like, hey, let's make it so that the daily quest timer resets at the same time for everybody so that it doesn't like constantly drift. Or let's update the brawl timer so that the brawl timer matches tournament times. Or, we're able to do like all these other things. So those we're going to be going through as well. I think I feel um good in the sense that like right now we have a singular focus, which is land. That's it. You know what I mean? Like when you are able to narrow down to just a single thing, everything becomes infinitely easier because you don't. Are we talking about land? No. Okay, I don't have time to talk about it. Sorry. Like it just makes everything go so much smoother and better, in my opinion.
All right. Um, how are you feeling about the SPS staking today? Are you confident? Are you anxious? Are you like, I don't know. It's just, where's your brain at? That's a pretty major development that we're rolling out today.
Yeah, I mean, there's still polish and follow up that we have to go back through and do, right? Like we're building that into how we do things now, of not just adding it on a list and hoping that we eventually get back to it. It's let's put it out and then immediately give it like a week or two of like feedback, and then just go back and doing it. So that's good, like I feel better about it than previously when we would put something out and be like, oh, I hope we can go back and fix this broken thing in 4 or 5 months. That will be nice. Like now we're planning to be able to do that. And I also think with the SPS staking stuff itself, I also have it like this touches in other areas and not just like ranked play. Like ranked play is the main course, right? But I'm a sides guy. So, it touches on tournaments and like how CP was used to calculate your entry into various tournaments. How are we going to move forward with that? How are we going to move forward when it comes to releasing new sets and like the different kind of like niche things that come along with it that we spend a lot of time essentially having to sort through and triage, you know. Um so yeah, I feel fine. Like I'm less stressed when again everything just narrows down into one little pipeline.
Um, so land is coming up. Do you want to give a date for that? Do you want to talk about that, or do you want to?
I could talk about it. I won't give a date, but I can talk about it.
Okay.
Um, like what we're kind of doing right now, like I said, we're narrowing down into one focus, which means that we're sort of signaling all hands on deck to come in and really do some of the lifting. Um you know, we're getting devs that normally don't interact with land to come in and pick up little things. Like it's still hard point and FARP. There are like our point people, right? They're our quarterback and you know, strong safety. They're still calling all the shots and telling us what's going on. But we have some of these role players that are coming in to be able to do some side tasks. And um you know, the big thing, especially in this company, that is always the concern is making sure Nate keeps his wonderful, beautiful hair. I don't want it to fall out from stress and anxiety. So that means that, you know, putting more devs is going to allow us that as creative cranks stuff out, they're able to go, here you go. And they hand it over, and we have somebody waiting to like fire brigade it, you know, and get it up and going. Um, I feel that it's also really good to have lots of eyes on things, even if there's like limited code that can be coded, right? Like there's only so many lines of gobbledygook that you can put together. I think Cryptomancer, after doing some like project spec work with him over the past month, has one of the best code review like bases out of any of our devs, right? Like he's my point guy that I can always turn to and be like, "Hey, I don't feel confident about this. Like I don't know intricate code. I don't know React, man. Like, can you help me understand this?" And he'll go through and he'll send back documents that show, "Hey, here's what looks really good. Here's some stuff that's okay. Like, here's what you should be worried about." And getting Cryptomancer in familiar with land, and then, you know, really just essentially being that hovering eye in the sky to make sure things are good, um, makes me feel pretty excited about being able to put it out and having it be a good solid release and not just like, oh, okay, land's out. Go figure it out. We'll fix it later.
All right. Okay. So um, feels like that's moving along. Hopefully that's here before too much time.
Mhm.
The maybe we're same kind of thing with SBS staking. I imagine that we're going to get it out, and then we'll have some additional things that we want to do with it.
Yeah.
But trying to do this in phases is good. I don't know. Anything else that's on your brain that you want to make sure that the community hears and knows about?
Tower defense is entering the final stretch. I'm very excited about being able to have creative not only go over it and give their spit shine on it, but you know, also we're making progress on the blocking bots for modern. Some of the technical back end that goes along with that, and our ops team is helping us out. So it's not just my team; it's also Harry's big, beautiful, you know, beautiful brain in there helping us out as well. Um, and I think that, like, one of the other things that I really have to highlight internally within the company is that we are making a lot, like, one of the things when I first got here was that this company was very wide. And when a company's wide, it's harder to be able to like advance things, right? Because you can't just go up. There's no direct path to like, how do I get this thing done, right? Like you have to build this whole platform and get many people on the same page. We're really making a lot of progress in how do we escalate problems and how do we escalate like, hey, this is a thing. What do we do? Um, you know, I think that we have some issues that have been lingering around here for a while as far as like things that we've talked about wanting to be able to do, but then we always just never advance the ball. Being able to have the process internally within the company, and that's not me doing it, that's like our wonderful HR department, it's leadership team like you and Matt and some of these other people on there, being able to just get stuff moving. Like I feel like things are finally starting. The dam is starting to break little by little here. You know, and I'm excited to be able to see what's going to happen over the coming rest of the year.
All right. Thanks, Weirdbeard. Yeah, we're gonna see how much we can get cranked out of here. And looking forward to sort of the next set of developments. Glad to be getting SBS staking out. Thanks for prioritizing that and making that happen. Pretty amazing. Let's go head over to our favorite Rondon and talk with the clown for a little bit. Ron, good to have you on.
I don't know
How
how I
are
can
things?
follow all that.
How's summer going?
You know what? It's going fantastic. I'm glad you asked because we got a couple of clips that are about that today. So it's pretty exciting.
Oh, good. Well, why don't we hop into those like immediately and just go see what we got.
All right. Well, our first clip, this one right here. I think I'm just going to play it. Okay. We've got just amazing luck for the audience. And, you got to see it to believe it.
I hope we get a good one here. So good, congrats. Hoy! Nice! A Lily Shield Po! Ang galing! Ang galing. Ito yung gusto ko guys sabihin kanina. We gave away six summoners in our stream tonight. Oh my God. Yeah. 6 lang naman, Lodi. 6 legendary summoners ang ating ipinamigay in our stream today. So congratulations to our 6 awesome winners. The receiver of our 6 awesome giveaways, 6 summoners. Yun lang naman, Lodi.
So 6 summoners in one stream.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Now, can that be topped?
It sounds like that's a leading question, Ron. That's a leading question. I'm assuming yes.
All right. Well, here we go. Here's our second week clip winner.
We could see a gold foil legendary. I can get 3. I get the hat trick right here, baby. Let's do it. Come on. Let's get that hat trick. Let's get it. Come on. You can do it. Give it to me. Yeah, I did it. I got the hat trick. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. Give me the Stanley Cup, man. I deserve it. I did it. I knew it. My craziness is doing it. Uh-oh. My dog is screaming at me. I can't believe it. Hat trick Nardian right here. That's me. I'm changing my name. Unbelievable. 3 gold foil legendaries in a row. Oh, across 2 weeks, but still in a row. I can't believe it. Can someone clip this back? But this is it, man. Clip
it. He called his own clip. Awesome.
Yes. So Summoner Summer has been going fantastic. I mean, the audience has been loving it. The prizes have been great. We still got a gold foil kitty to give away though. I know we gave away a Jotun this week. Or maybe it was last week. We gave away a Jotun. We gave away a bunch of gold foil legendary summoners. We've given away a lot of other summoners. We've given away tons of cards, giving them away every single day. And guess what? We got another event coming up for even more prizes. I don't know. You might not have heard about this, but there's a special event we're going to be doing. Matt, Yabba P Matt, the one and only Matt, he won a leaderboard position on the what was that, the 5th anniversary burn event, and he's going to be giving away basically everything he won except for the title on Splinterlands TV to the viewers. So that's including 50 land plots, 44 nightmare packs, 44 Riftwatcher packs, 19 untamed packs, 7 beta packs, and a Rooney.
Damn.
Yeah,
that's a good dude.
That is a good dude. We appreciate Matt's generosity. It's going to be really awesome. I think the community is going to love this. I think that some really fantastic prizes to be given out. So that's going to be running in parallel with the Summoner Summer event. So both of those are going to be happening at the same time. Ag, you look like you glitched out a little bit there.
I glitched out just a minute there.
So yeah, I mean, on top of all the stuff that we're already giving out, we got more stuff to give out. And Matt will be appearing on one of these shows to help with the giveaway. So I think that's going to be pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, this is what I don't know. This is Matt sets that tone for this part of the community. So thanks for doing that, Matt. That's fantastic, and excited to see what this thing turns into. Yabba Dabba July sounds like it's going to be awesome.
Yabba Dabba July. I should have asked you before I published that, I guess.
Anyways,
But that I just put a post in the chat. It's got all the it's got the entire schedule of who will be participating and what time they're going to be participating. So make sure you check it out. Go to splinterlands.tv/schedule to see all those times in your local time, because it's all in UTC there. But yeah, hope to see you guys there.
awesome, Ron. Thanks so much for what you do. I mean, frankly, you're just awesome. Your central casting, I just couldn't be happier. Thanks for being here. And I don't know, we're gonna hop over to Nate, but thanks for all you do, Ron, and thanks for helping us have a fantastic summer.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Yep. All right, Nate,
Yes.
the one,
Yes.
the only. How are things? Do you have your hair? Have you shaved your hair? Has it all fallen on? How you doing?
No, for sure. I know Weirdbeard said he just wants to make me happy. And I just want to make him happy, because if he's happy, that means everything is getting released on time, which makes you happy, and I get to keep my job. So there's some, mutual benefits all around. But yeah, everything's rocking and rolling. I think that, part of what makes this stuff exciting for like the last 5 years is that when there are challenges and there are tight deadlines and we're trying to accomplish the impossible, that's when I don't know. That's that's when things get exciting, and exciting is a good thing. That's where you are forged. That's where you grow. That's where you learn. That's where you go outside your comfort zone and you get better. Not just me. I'm talking about the whole team, the whole company. So I think that it's a good thing, and I'm glad that you're there to kind of push us to always do more and be better.
Oh, I love the team. I'm very proud of everybody that's here. Nate, you've led the creative team and been great. So thanks for doing it, and especially thanks for doing it under the crazy conditions. Sometimes you say things like, I remember at one point I asked you what was the hardest part of your job, and you said working for you. It was something along those lines. It's like, it's not always just me. I'm just trying to respond to the markets that we have. Like Matt said, we haven't sold much in the past almost 9 months. I guess it's 7, probably closer to 7. But I don't think we'll even see a mini set till maybe September or later. So, as a company, we're gonna be, light on revenue for something like 7 months. It's crazy. And but we know that this is what the community needs. We can't just like run out there and put out brand new cards. We gotta kind of take the experience that we have now and figure out there's too much SBS. How do we absorb it? There's too many cards. How do we absorb it? There's too much DEC. How do we absorb it? And the answer is not just print more. The answer is, bake in a lot more utility. And a lot of that utility, a giant chunk of it goes in today, the whole SBS staking. And, we gave you a pretty tight turnaround for that. You guys cranked it out. So I don't know if there's anything you want to share about what's going live today. But then, the next piece is Land 1.5 is hopefully around the corner here pretty soon. And I don't know if there's pieces of that you want to share, or that you want to get out there, but the more that you can kind of talk to our community about the SBS staking going live now and the land stuff that's coming out soon, that'd be awesome.
No, for sure. I mean, and it's pretty exciting. I mean, what's coming out, and I'm gonna zip through stuff because I know we don't have much time. But yeah, the stuff that you guys are about to see go live right now is pretty exciting. You're gonna see a slightly different. You're gonna see this over on your battle overview screen. You're gonna see a little tweak. We have more ambitious UI changes we want to make to that screen, and I think Antioch is planning on tackling that right away. Which I was excited to see some of what he's working on right now, which is like, oh yes, like Weirdbeard said, we're not just talking about coming back to it someday. We're like tackling that stuff right away, which like to me was like, whoa, this is awesome. This is great. But that small tweak where you see your boost and the modifiers that you'll be able to manage from another page. And then you'll be able to right there see, well, on my next win, I'm going to get this many reward points right there. It's very black and white. Matt, was very patient with me as I try to work out, just wrap my head around, okay, what does this mean? What's going on? How do we make this intuitive on the front end? And sometimes I had the wrong idea, or I didn't quite get it. And then once he finally explained it for maybe the third time, I was like, oh, the light bulb went off. We were able to make some progress. We cranked out the UI. And I think that, yes, we're going to build on it. Yes, we're going to make it better and better. But like when you see a screen like this and you get a breakdown of like, okay, here's my modifiers. Here's my new reward points I'm getting based upon the league and what's going on. Okay, I get it. I understand it. If I'm a new user or a veteran user, I can look at this stuff and be like, okay, I actually understand it better or more than before, or maybe some of the tokenomics were hidden in the background or on the back end, and you didn't quite feel like you were getting the full story, or you had to read this blog post white paper to kind of grasp what the heck is happening. So I think that there's a lot of cool stuff. When it takes off later on today, then be patient. I know having something new can be a little troublesome to some traumatic to others, but let it go. Try it for a season. Let's see how it goes. And I think that overall, it's going to make the game more sustainable, healthier, better. If you want to stake more SPS, then you should have a screen that looks something like this that tells you, okay, if you stake more SPS, you can expect this kind of change to your boost in play, so that even it has a ripple effect across a bunch of other screens in the game. And we want to make it as user friendly as possible. And now, given the time that we had to work in, understand that we just kind of did the bare minimum to try to address the critical parts. But we're getting back to it. We're going to go and polish some stuff up. We're going to try to make it cooler and better. Well, like I think previous town halls, I explained, oh, it'd be cool to get all those animations in when you go up a league and this and that. I mean, we didn't have time again to get it in, but we uploaded all the assets. Antioch said that, hey, I can do it right after the release. I could start iteratively making it better and better, polishing, using all these assets you guys have. I'm like, yes. So it's only going to get better, guys. It's not like, hey, we're done with this. It's like it's getting better and better. So yeah, that's what I got for that. And then we could talk about land real quick. For land, we are working on a bunch of different screens. Like for instance, here is if you want to buy a power core because you didn't get the building in a box boost and you need a power core, then there's a sample screen. If you want to speed something up, like clearing your land or whatnot, then there's a screen to kind of like help figure out how many time crystals to see how far along I could get and speed up this clearing or building the work site and things like that. Speaking of which, we are, as a company, as a team, we are in biddle mode. And so to celebrate that biddle mode mentality, that passion, that eye of the tiger, here is a sneak preview of what your land will look like while it's in the midst of construction. You're gonna go start clearing the land, or you're gonna start building a work site for grain or SPS or whatever, and you're gonna see a little change to your landscape, where you see the mountains and the birds. Now you got all this construction going on, and that'll be reflected in the artwork. So I'm very happy with how that came out. And then finally, let's get a quick sneak preview of, I think I shared, what did I share with you guys before? I think it was this, some sneak preview at Grain. So essentially, outside building, you build a grain work site, it changes the work site that's on your plot. And not only that, when you go inside the building, you'll see inside will be reflected. The interior of that work site will look like you're getting grain. And the same holds true for, let's say you're getting SPS. There you go. Now you can start mining for SPS and see the interior changes. Same thing with research. You got kind of like this outdoor library where you're documenting all the stuff that you're doing and finding out about the secret that Matt has planned for you. Then the interior changes to reflect that. So as Matt hopefully got a lot of you excited about the DeFi and the tokenomics and the economy and just how layered and complex, and appreciate how robust the platform is about to become, I want you to get you equally excited about how we plan on adding some flavor and some fantasy theme to it, and to make it feel like you are in this world that we are building together. I think it's going to be really dang cool once it comes out.
Yeah, this stuff is looking beautiful, Nate. Excited to get these buildings up on my land. Excited to go just see that work site transform so that, my plot that's out there, I can just see it start like coming alive and these assets coming my way. And, I know to the players, it might look simple to be like, oh, let's speed up task and just buy a power core. Why, that's easy. Just put in a little sale page. But, like the thought that has to go into that of like, where do you encounter it? When do you encounter it? Is it on a one by one? Is it in a group? What happens after you speed it up? There's like a million little questions that you encounter, and I see that more and more as I dig into this thing. So I don't know. It's just you guys are doing a great job. I think land is going to look pretty, and I know that there's more that we're going to do over time. We're going to get this thing out. We're going to get these cards staked. And we're going to get the work sites operating, and then there's more that we're going to keep adding on. And of course, the white paper talks about more things that we're going to do for SPS staking. So we're going to have to add on top of that. And Matt's building the white paper for Land 2.0. So there's going to be more that we have to add on to that. It's like this never-ending sequence of adding more utility, adding more features, and I'm excited to have these things look pretty, to be as intuitive as we can possibly make them. And I think players will be excited. And if you just look at the feedback that we're seeing already, I think players are excited. All right. Anything else you want to add, Mr. Nate?
No, I better cut it short. We got like what, 2 or 3 minutes left. So I don't know if you plan on answering questions or anything.
Yeah, I don't think I can. I know I'm dying to answer questions, but I personally have to leave. I got another call that I got to hop into.
I could stick around for a little.
Yeah, so maybe what we do, Matt can read the questions. Matt can go through the questions. I'm going to hop out of here. Ron, that won't screw up anything with the recording, right? Yeah, so he's going to tweak that one little last bit. I guess Nate, we've described it a couple times that creative is, we don't have as many creative people as we probably need to for the development team size that we have, and creative can be a bottleneck. Are we have some internal deadlines of what we're trying to meet for getting Land 1.5 out. We haven't publicly released those dates, but they're fairly fixed in the company. How are you feeling about them? Do you feel like this is going to get pushed back even further? Do you think we're actually going to get some stuff out? Like, are you dreading this? Do you have lots and lots of things that are impediments to getting the first sort of crack at Land out the door, or are you feeling confident that we're going to make it?
No, we're definitely gonna take care of business, man. When you said, "Hey, we need it by this date," I'm like, "Oh, okay." And then I turn to the team, the design team. I'm like, "Guys, we're gonna have to go nuts here." And they're like, "Okay." And they really have come to bat. Like, on a daily basis, it's like ramped up on energy drinks, and from morning till night, we're like just constantly in real time, throwing designs and layouts back and forth, and collaborating on, well, let's do this and let's do that, and we're tweaking, and things are flying left and right, and somehow we're catching all the balls as they're in the air, and it's great. I mean, it's been a great experience. I'm very appreciative for the talented and passionate team that I have, and we'll get her done.
Sweet. All right, Ron, are you good for me to all right, awesome. All right, Matt, I leave this in your hands. You are now a host of the Splinterlands Town Hall. Good luck with questions. And to the team, thanks for all you do. Thanks for really trying to get this thing launched, get all these different key features out. I'm excited for what we're doing, and hopefully the community responds well. And to the players, these are just massive changes that are literally starting today. And I'm excited for what we're doing, and hopefully you guys are pumped too. Thanks, everybody. I'm out of here. Good luck, Matt and team. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Aggie. Should we just get started? We have a document with the questions here. We'll go through that first. Weirdbeard, you want to take the first one?
Yes. Will Splinterlands TV streamers get access to tower defense now or soon, considering we're getting near its release? We'd like to be able to get some early access to Splinterlands TV streamers, but I can't promise that just because, again, we have creative giving some spit, shine, polish to it. So would we like to? Yes. Still TBD.
I'll take the next one. Is a guild's question. When a player leaves a guild or gets kicked out and a building gets downgraded, are the crowns that went into the upgrade lost, or does the guild get them back? No, the crowns are never lost. They'll still be there and applied to the building. And once they add more guild power to get it back up, it'll just go right back up to the level it was at, and the crowns are already applied.
Next one. It's to me. How can we, the community, help you with your video tutorials and translate them into other languages? They're not being publicly released yet, so when we're ready to take them out there, would love to be able to work with some other language streamers and get some video tutorials that are in like Spanish or Tagalog or other wonderful ones. But still figuring it out. Can we get a rundown of the total number of devs and what they are working on? I'm pretty sure we have 2 working on Land 1.5, 1 working on validators, and 1 or 2 working on SPS staking. Is this accurate? Are there more or less? And what are they working on? I think if people knew exactly what the devs are working on, it will help ease the transition into not giving concrete dates on deliverables. I mean, I can give a general overview. Like there's many many people are working on many things, and it's not like a dev works on just this one thing. Let me count out loud. We have 1, we have 2, we have 3, we have 4, we have 5, we have 6. So we have 6 devs. We have a QA person, and that's for the 7. Sorry, we have 7 devs, 1 QA, and that's essentially on the enhancement side, right? So Splinterlands only people of what they're doing. Some of the general stuff that they're working on, again, Land 1.5 occupies them. We have somebody who's doing a lot of our tower defense stuff currently. We have one person who is doing the SPS staking, as well as some of the other like quality of life updates and issues. We have one that's working on tech specs for future projects and is also doing some implementation on some of the bot stuff as well. And then QA just QAs everything that comes through. So, I mean, there's a good chunk of people, right? And then again, remember, I just want to put the caveat. It's not only about how many devs we have. It's creative. It's the administration. It's the, like everybody makes a town work. So it's not just like, hey, get more devs in there and all of a sudden everything comes through. Knowing that the team has been working hard, but that it is currently reduced since earlier this year, I was wondering if you had more money available right now to hire new people. Oh, it's being changed. I love you, Beth. I was wondering if you had more money available right now to hire new people. Would it help the team to get Land 1.5 out faster? No. And here's why. Because we're already so far in development, you don't just plop somebody in and they start work the next day, right? Like they have to learn what a code base is, or at least our code base for Land 1.5. What have we already accomplished? What would we need to like? There's a lag time between hiring and when stuff goes live. It's the same thing that Nate deals with when we go, oh, we have all these issues with having one UX UI person with Roy, who's like our go-to guy for it. We can't just go out and get a UX guy here tomorrow and be like, all right, start doing stuff. Like they have to, there's a whole catch-up period that they have to do. Would something like the DAO voting to lend some of the 500,000 in stablecoin to help grow the team, and that this money would be paid back eventually with interest to the DAO, would this be viable help to the team? I have no idea. That's way above my pay grade. But I would probably err on the side of we are in get stuff out mode. And when, the company's in a place where we're making more revenue, we should probably be doing the hiring. But again, that's above me. I have no idea.
Yeah, so maybe if it was like a much larger amount, if it was talking like $5 million, that might really give us the ability to, do a lot more for a lot longer. But that amount, I just don't think it makes sense. I mean, we might be able to bring in a couple people, the 2 or 3 people when you add in all the costs and expenses for a couple years, and it takes, who knows, 6 months or however to do that. So I feel like we wouldn't go ask for a loan from the DAO unless we like really really needed it as like a last ditch thing. And we have other, in my opinion, better options for bringing money in to hire people and run the operation.
Cool. Ron, if you could scroll down just a little bit. So, does win trading specifically violate any of Splinterland's terms of service? If so, are there any repercussions for accounts that win trade? If not, are there plans to modify or change the existing terms of service as well as enforce any changes? There are going to be updates to the terms of service. What those specifically entail, I have not seen the final ones, but there are updates to terms of service coming. So I don't think that I would plant a flag on any of that right now. Bots. Traditional gaming companies spend tons of resources and money dealing with bots and cheaters. Yes, they do, endlessly. But many still fail to address the issue. Does Splinterlands have enough resources to start the cat and mouse game with bots, and would it further delay land and other things? The first thing I will say is that it wouldn't delay land. I just listed off a whole bunch of people that are doing a whole bunch of different things. It's not like we would scramble the jets and have to be like, oh no, all right, stop doing land to take care of bots. Because a lot of it too is that developers that are working on putting out land are like developers that are building things, whereas bots and bot management is a lot of like infrastructure work, right? It's about how do bots interact with the game, or how do bots access and how do we track them? How do we look at that? What is a bot type of a thing? So those are two different things for two different groups of people within the company.
Well, I can reiterate our stance on bots, which has never changed in the history of the game, which is that we are attempting to build a fully decentralized game, in which case there would be no blocking specific accounts or anything like that. And our goal is to instead build an economy, an ecosystem that allows bots to coexist with real players and not have any type of advantages over them. But that being said, obviously there was the governance proposal to block bots from Modern League, and we don't intend to do any type of cat and mouse game. We're going to implement a bot detection service from a third party who will be paid to do that job, and add it to our terms of service, that it's against the terms of service to use a bot in modern format when that goes live. And that will be the extent of it. I mean, we don't really plan to put additional resources towards that, and we'll see how it goes.
DAO SPS. Is the DAO's decentralized voting system comprised by large shareholders in the company also being large shareholders in the DAO, and effectively meaning the team has a swing vote on most proposals? I mean, I
I
think,
think they said compromised. Like, is it
yeah,
compromised by large shareholders?
I think that Aggie's spoken about it, and Matt, I mean, you can reiterate. Like, I am not a large DAO swing voter, but like, I think you guys only step in if you're like, hey, I need to put my foot down on this, essentially, right? Like, you essentially let it be a system that exists on its own.
Well, I mean, I think the question is like, is it basically where us people that work for the company are just have like a majority stake of SPS, so we just control everything? And the answer is like totally and clearly no. There's been many proposals that I have wanted to pass that didn't, or that like a lot of the team, Agrod and I and other people wanted to pass but didn't. I mean, we like in total, I think if you add up, well, first of all, I think we've talked before. One, everyone on the team is highly encouraged to vote however they want on any proposals,
Yep.
and never to feel like they are in any way, you know, restricted from voting or pushed to vote in any direction. So we typically have lots of people within the organization. There's like Cryptomancer, there's Byzantinus who have large SPS stakes, and they vote opposite of me and Agrod, and that's totally fine. And we want people who are working for us to be like active and participating people in the ecosystem and not have any like fear of voting however they want. So we as an organization don't ever like get together and try to swing votes. And I feel like even if we were to, We don't have that big of a stake where the community couldn't easily outvote us on things. Especially if we were trying to pass something where it would have to be 66%. So, and that's really important, right? If it was the case that a small group of people, especially in the organization, had a controlling stake, then the whole thing would kind of be a sham. So it's clearly not, I think, at this point. And it's very important to us that it stays that way.
Next, when will the day come when the game is decentralized and the company is a service provider? What will happen with interfaces to the real world, e.g., buying credits to get into the game fast or KYC when regulations afford it?
Well, the idea is that we provide credits as a service, and we can still do that. And anyone else can also do that too. Anyone will be able to, depending upon legalities in different regions, but like there's all different types of services where you can. The idea when it gets to be like fully decentralized and we're a service provider, um, everything would go through like DEC, right? That's the goal. So it would just be about getting DEC. So there can be people in different places in the world who offer the ability for people within the game to buy DEC through them using fiat or using other things, or people will be able to build services where they buy a whole bunch of packs, and they might take PayPal and sell those packs to people. There's all sorts of different ways. So we provide that service now, but there's no reason why anyone else can't provide that also.
What is the status of SPS listing in one of the biggest exchanges, wishfully Binance? I believe this is because of the proposal that passed setting aside a whole bunch of SPS from the DAO to get listed.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that the proposal wasn't like we have all these listings ready and we just need the funds. It was more like if the option is available, we wanted to have or really the DAO wanted to have the funds ready to go, for those opportunities. I would say with the way things are currently going with the SEC and the exchanges, it's getting less likely. But I've also found that like the exchange listings don't just mean very much anymore, like they did in years past. So I'm not, I don't worry too much about that. I think we build out our product and try to make the game and the economy and the ecosystem better, and that's what'll help us the most. And not exchange listings, which are more and more difficult and of less value.
Since the implementation of SPS staking happens in the middle of a season, will there be an option to down level your league if you don't have enough SPS staked? You want to go down a level that fits your SPS.
Yeah, this one, like a lot of people have a version of this question. So first of all, there's no option to down level your league. I mean, you can lose battles if you want. That's how you can move down in league very easily. But there isn't really a concept of enough SPS staked. And I think it's important that people really get out of that mindset. Like you can have whatever SPS stake you have, that's how much you have, and that's enough. And you'll earn rewards based on that. And I still believe that the system is set up where it is always beneficial to still move up in rating. A lot of people have said, "Oh, well, if I move up in rating and I have less SPS staked, then I will get fewer R shares." And that might be true, but the whole idea is if you go up into higher leagues, you will get higher level chests. So even if you're earning, potentially fewer R shares, you're getting better rewards overall. So I mean, and these are things we'll see how things go in production for a little bit, but that's always the goal. Is like you should always be incentivized to move up higher in rating, and there's no such thing as enough SPS or an amount of SPS that you need. It's just you just want to constantly get more, and that will increase your multiplier.
Soulkeep, having played around with Soulkeep for the last 10 days, how's the testing and bugs situation going so far? I think it's going well. I think it's like I said, Nate can probably he doesn't have to give a whole bunch of insight or anything like that, but we're making sure that creative gets that polish on it. Bugs and things along those lines. We haven't had a ton of like bugs. It's been a lot more of, I think, final balancing and making sure that like how do we want this game to interact with Splinterlands? Am I essentially right in that, Nate?
Yeah, I mean, when creative kind of touches it for release, it's not to actually influence or move stuff around for the actual gameplay. It's really just how does it connect to the rest of the Splinterlands website in a way where it's not confusing, where it's a great addition to the ecosystem without making, splashing everyone in the face and making people blind and like, hey, where do I go for this and what's happening over here? That kind of stuff. So yeah, we've had some very great positive talks in the last few days to kind of go over a high level game plan for how to best accomplish that. And I think it'll be great.
Cool. Yeah, I feel good about it. We're definitely the other thing too is that when Soul Keep launches, it's not like, all right, Soul Keep's launched, don't talk about it or touch it for for another 3 years. Like Soul Keep launching is essentially like ranked, right? In the sense that it's going to require constant updates and constant upkeep and just making sure that the lights are on and things are working and everything's good. In the Land 1.5 white paper, it has now been changed that Rooney, Occupied, and Magical Land no longer has a totem fragment finding bonus. Why was such a change done, and why did this change not require a vote like the 100,000 base PP cap and the Soulbound unlock for DEC changes did? Changes like this have a large financial impact for people who have invested in these land plots in Rooney.
Yeah, it was changed because as we went through the math more, it would have led to significantly more totems being discovered in land 1.5 than made sense. Again, we want like a small number of totems relatively in land 1.5, and like overall, there was some like 50 to 80,000 totems that were planned to be discovered over some number of years. So that was just a miscalculation in the math. And why it so first of all, I just want to be clear, no changes to land require a vote in any way. We as a company are building the land expansion in whatever way we choose. In certain cases where we kind of feel like we can go, it could kind of go either way. We choose to put it up to the community and see what the community feels about it. But just to be clear, like the DAO does not own the land expansion like they own and control SPS, and so in this case, it wasn't really a matter of does the community think this is a good idea. In our opinion, it was necessary for the math to work out properly, and that's why we're also like very. And I understand it has some financial impact, but to be honest, like Rooney and Magic and Occupied land plots are still going to be extremely valuable. Um, so it's not like that was the only thing that they have. Those are like you know, very, very valuable and rare and important things in the game. So it was again to me like a clear, good change overall. And everything we change and everything we do is going to have financial impact, and that's why we're very clear in the white paper and on these calls that everything is subject to change at any time, and people have to take that into account when they make decisions. Although I still believe that again, Rooney and those types of plots will continue to be very rare and valuable on land in the future.
For land phase 2, 3, and beyond, when is it possible to craft items and spells or build the storage? What tax the castle keep owner will get from the plots? If a tract is full of non-resource productions, the keep could lose its complete value.
Yeah, so I mean that's a good question, and that's part of all the things we have to consider when we're designing land, those land phases. I mean, the first thing is that realistically, an entire tract would not be used for storage or item or spell production, especially like certain legendary or higher rarity plots, or magical or occupied plots. You're pretty much always going to want to do resource production. But then also, that's not the only thing that castles and keeps are going to have value. It's not just by collecting taxes and things. That I mentioned there's going to be a specific resource that you can only earn from castles and keeps. And there will be lots of different ways that castles and keeps will get value, and they can also get value from other things like resource refinement, storage, item and spell creation. So it's not just resource production, but I don't have the specifics yet, but that's part of the design. You want to read the next one, or you want me to?
Sorry, I was on mute and I said that out loud.
No problem.
It didn't go. How will Splinterlands deal with bot farms squatting on plots? I can tell you that land surfing and squatting and everything is not an implemented mechanic right now. So we're still dealing with that. But as far as bot farms interacting on land, the purpose of land is that land is the value, like it's what holds and maintains value for assets. Am I right in like that description, Matt?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like to be able to even interact with land and to be able to do things on land, these accounts are going to have to hold and be using and staking these different resources and whatnot. How will we deal with things like this? I mean, we'll have to see what the what comes down the pipeline. Like you can't really future predict too much on stuff like that. But I will say that I think the fear of bots extracting through land is less of a serious one than bots extracting through just straight gameplay like manipulation. I don't know though.
Yeah, I mean, even though land serving isn't finalized, so we can't until we know exactly how it works. We can't say like this is how bot farms can take advantage of it. But generally, the idea is that whoever puts the highest amount of production worth of cards on the land will be able to utilize the land and can be kicked out by someone with even more production. So bot farms typically have like lots of lower production value cards spread across a lot of accounts. So that doesn't so I don't see how they would have any advantage there, although I didn't read that specific post or comment. But that's going to be a clear thing that we're going to make sure to think about when we actually design the details of that.
Currently, there are shares equation caps the rating to the league maximum. Does this cap get removed with player staking?
I don't believe so. And again, we really do want to encourage people to move up to higher leagues. So that's one of the many things, we'll have to see how things go when it's released, but I'm inclined to keep it there.
Next, oh my god, there's so many questions. The white paper. I know that most of the team's resources are needed to build the big upcoming features, but why is the white paper not getting updated frequently? Here, all important mechanics and questions could be found easily. At the moment, it is annoying to find information about how the game works currently. Also, more links to an updated white paper would support new and old players with not much effort.
So he's not talking about the SPS white paper, just the general game white paper. I
Correct.
mean, yeah, it's I don't know, not much effort is a relative term. I think it's good and important to get documentation out there, but it hasn't been our highest priority.
I think the other thing too is that the white paper is supposed to be like the 10 commandments, right? Like you only touch it when you really need to because that is the governing source of information and truth. So it's not as simple as just like, hey, so and so, you got 10 minutes, just go throw some stuff in there, because once it's in the white paper, like we want to make sure that it's correct. So it requires review and it requires making sure that it's written correctly. And so it's again, like Matt said, I would say that it's relative of how much effort it really is. But I do agree that, we will make more of an effort to stay on top of updating the white paper and getting more things in there.
I mean, I wouldn't even call that. We never really had a white paper for Splinterlands. So that's more just like documentation versus like the SPS white paper, the land white paper. But yeah, I agree. It's important to update it. Hasn't been our highest priority.
Regarding the mint soulbound for land proposal, what is the rationale behind it being 2 times the burn value and not just slightly above the burn value plus the combined bonus? Example, 20% above base burn value. Why isn't the full mint to sell price not being locked to be the same price as the mint soulbound for land one? It's a tough pill to ask people to spend X for a half mint and basically be a wasted value if they consider the full mint not worth it in the end.
I picked 2x the burn value because it makes them similar value to other cards on the market. So I like really don't want a flood of soulbound cards to come in and be like a much cheaper option, right? Again, the one of the major points of land was to soak up cards, existing cards in the economy. So if like all of a sudden there's this hugely much cheaper, more efficient option, like I was very concerned about that coming in and kind of taking over for all the other cards in the game. And so 2x burn value seemed to kind of be in line with that. But then also with the addition of the being able to spend voucher tokens, it's actually pretty much what you're saying at the end of the day. It's much less than 2x burn value, and it's something like 20-30% above base burn value. So that what you're asking is effectively what the proposal is when you include the voucher discount, because vouchers are being valued significantly higher than their current market price. And as far as the full mint to make them unsoulbound and transferable price, I mean, that hasn't been decided yet. So we haven't locked it into anything. We've specifically said that's TBD. But I mean, personally, I expect it to be higher, and it's not any type of pill that anyone has to swallow. Again, like, no one has to do any of that. No one has to make the cards unsoulbound when that option becomes available. You can simply keep them in your deck and play with them. But overall, the idea is that we can't just be giving out all these NFTs as rewards and just constantly diluting the supply that way. So I think it's great to have reward cards and certain cards that people can earn from playing. But for those cards to enter circulation in the markets, I mean, there's going to have to be economic value put into them. And I think it needs to be like significant economic value so as not to devalue cards in general. And again, like, we're not asking people to spend anything, right? It's just, you understand up front, you're getting these cards, they are going to be soulbound. You can use them in battles. And if you want to trade them or sell them, here's the cost. And people can know that and understand that going in up front. So it shouldn't be a surprise or a change for anybody.
Last week, the company, talked about a 1-year runway. Does this include revenue from Rebellion and the possible mini set? I don't believe so.
It does. No.
Yeah, I don't think so either, because we can't count on it. Like, you don't know what you have. Don't count your chickens till they hatch. Follow up to a comment from last town hall, paraphrasing, UX is not a priority over the economy. This is going to be all Nate here. When people talk about user experience needing to be put before most other things, most of us are not talking about huge changes in the game, but just minimal changes that are critical from minimally fluid user experience. Why can't we have the most basic of changes, like a functional tournament search screen, a more logical guild ranking, and some other minimal changes in battle UI? Well, first, before I let Nate answer that, I will say tournaments and battles are both two areas alongside brawls and guilds that have not been ported over to our vNext system. It's still some of the biggest chunks of what we're doing for the tech monetization, which means that we are not able to implement some of the changes that we want to see. While we just released the card collection, we'll be doing markets here very soon. And so people will see, some of those changes going in. And I hope to be able to get them to not only battles, but also tournaments as well. But that requires having to get that code base moved over from the old stuff to the new stuff so that Nate, again, as I keep saying, does not pull out his hair for making him do double work. Go ahead, Nate, if you have something.
Yeah, that's why I wear a hat from all the hair pulling. I'll let Matt provide feedback if he thinks it's necessary. But I will say that the comment UX not a priority over economy. I think that at no point in time has Matt ever told me, like, yeah, just skip all the UX UI stuff. We don't need that, or the artwork or all that stuff. It's more like we got to get this functionality out. We got to get it out in this time period. Nate, go ahead and do what you can in the time that you have to make this as good as it can be. But we still have deadlines. I mean, we're still a company. We still have to get revenue and pay employees and do all the stuff. We can't just live in a fantasy world where all that stuff isn't important. And then the second point is, like, I agree when Matt says that the economy is what differentiates us from everything else on the competitive landscape, then he's right. Like, being a creative guy, I want there to be beautiful animations and sound and music and all this other stuff. But at the end of the day, he's right. We can make the most beautiful game ever, polished and AAA and all this stuff. But there's already plenty of beautiful AAA products already out there. We have to speak to what makes us different and what makes us special and what's ultimately going to allow us to get ahead of the pack Because right now, I think that that most of the pack in the gaming industry or the blockchain space or whatever, they are trailing behind us, and that's because we're trying to meet Matt's vision for what's important. So there's always going to be priorities. But having said all that, the real true answer to the question is bandwidth. We have a small design team. We just have to prioritize. So we have I have one UX designer. I have 2 UI designers that, for those of you guys who went to Splinterfest, you met them. Their names are Kai and Harry, and they're extremely talented UI designers. But at the end of the day, there's just 2 of them, which means that on a major project that requires a whole bunch of design, I need both of them on that project. And for 2 medium-sized projects going in parallel, well, I need both of them. And if there's anything extra, quality of life stuff or otherwise, then it's like, well, who else is there? There's no one else to pull from. We do plan on, when things turn up and the market changes and the company's doing better, then I'm being told that UX and UI is at the top of the hiring list, and I'm very excited about that. But in the meantime, yeah, we have the resources that we have.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's really easy to sit there and say, why don't we have this? Why don't we have that? Why don't we have that? I think the same thing on a daily basis, but it's not just Nate's team. It's also the development team. Every little change it's like a thing. Someone has to work on it. They have to work with the developer, has to work with the designer. They have to implement it. A lot of times, you think, oh, it's just a little change, and then someone does it, and then it breaks something, and then there's bug fixing, and it causes problems. So it's just like we're not at the point like a long time ago when it was just a couple people. Like we just went, we just moved super fast and we broke things on a regular basis, and that was that. But we're at a point where we need to be a little more careful about our things. And we talked about earlier what our we have like something like 7 developers. They're all like very focused on certain big important projects. And sometimes people, we take people and we have them spend some time working on some UX things or changes or whatever it is. But it's like we need to have certain people that stop other projects and work on these things. And the little things add up. Like just the few things listed here would probably take a decent amount of time from a developer, and we have to think, okay, well, some of those things would be nice, but like are there really like all these people who are coming in and saying, I'm not playing the game because there's not a logical guild ranking? We have a plan for a guilds update, which is going to have a new ranking system. So is it worth it having someone working on that right now? We have plans for battles 2.0. Is it actually going to make a noticeable impact doing some of these things right now, or waiting until we have a larger kind of overhaul of different systems? And those are the decisions we have to make on a daily basis.
Can we have a list of UX changes being considered in the priorities assigned to them, even if not to be done right away? Probably not, because stuff changes. So unfortunately, like we can talk about all kinds of cool things if they're gonna get done. We'll figure it out along the way.
I mean, we could say at a high level. I mean,
Okay, sure.
land, obviously.
Yeah, sure. Land.
I mean, we all do care about, even though we kind of put down UX at the beginning, not put down, but we said like, hey, the whole UX versus economy discussion. But we do all agree, Matt included. I think everyone in the company wants improved UX to everything. I mean, that's not a question. It's just how to prioritize it. And when I say improved UX, that means the new user experience. It means tournaments. It means guilds. It means all the stuff. And then overall gameplay polish. We all want a nicer looking game, and that includes Matt and Aggie and everyone. It's just, again, priorities. So I think that where do they lie in the priority list? Well, land's at the top, obviously. I'd probably say improved UX is probably floating in there. I think Weirdbeard, you've done a great job of championing, making sure that the time is put into each and every product that gets released, so that we're adding a little bit more time for UX, a little bit more time, so we're not bowing our heads in shame for just the barest minimum MVP. So I think that's all great. I would say on a personal note, I don't know when this would ever happen, but Matt and Aggie have been great about always like nodding their heads and smiling when I ramble off. But someday, from a UX perspective, I'm hoping that right now we're talking about economy, and how that's taking center stage. And it's important because that's the beating heart of the game, right? That's the sustainable financial health of the ecosystem, the company, the community, everything. That's it. There's no doubt about it. But as far as like, that's the health, the heart. But in terms of the soul, that's where I get excited. That's where as a creative, I'm like, I can't wait for the day when we can go ahead and inject some soul. And what I mean by soul is that people aren't just excited about the money or even the ownership of assets, but also they get emotionally excited, sad, happy about the role that they play within the game. And so what I mean by that is kind of like right now we have avatars, and they represent kind of like your account. And then a lot of games have, well, you can make a character, but still, it's kind of like you have that detached look where you're like, okay, I'm watching this happen to something else, this other fictional person. I'm hoping for the day where the players are someday creating a persona, their identity that represents themselves within the Splinterlands, where they are the battle mage, and then we are able to design and develop around your story, the player's story, so that you're running around and you're maybe in ranked play, or you might be in, doing a boss fight or a story mode or whatever, and you're concerned about how the denizens and the inhabitants of that world affect you, or how you affect them. Your reputation with the Drybone Anarchist, or the Order of the Silver Shield, like how they perceive you and how you perceive them makes a difference. So that's my own personal like vision or hopes for down the road, is that eventually from a UX perspective, you see this less as, well, I'm pushing keys and I'm earning this and I'm earning that and I'm playing with the financial stuff. I want to someday make it so that, wow, every time you log in, you feel like a battle mage and you're in this world and you are just experiencing it from a first person view. That'd be unbelievable. That'd be awesome. So that's what I hope for from the UX someday.
I'm purple. I apologize. My dog unplugged my camera, and so I went to plug it back in, and now my camera's purple. Awesome.
All right. Your new name is Barney.
I don't have too much time left, so if it's okay, can I like zip through some of these? Like,
Yeah.
I didn't realize how long the document is that I want to address, and if you guys want to stay on and talk about some of the others, that's fine.
Yeah, most
I'm
of
good.
what's left for the UX UI is mostly bug fixing. So what I would say is that we probably don't have to shout out every single line, but just know that I copied that entire thing, and we will compare it internally with the bug fixing that's already going on for the collection screen. And if we missed anything, then we'll add it to the list.
Go ahead, Matt. Let's get hyper speed.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, you can talk about marketing and onboarding new players, I guess. But it's one high level plan is like we're trying to do some like cross promos with other like NFT or games in the crypto space. That's kind of worked well in the past, like we did with like Sesame Seed on Tron a while back and Atomic Hub on Wax, and those worked like way better than any other type of onboarding things we've done. So we want to try to do some like similar things to that, which you should see coming, in the next few months. But that's kind of the main way that we've seen work, is like work with these other crypto NFT communities and try to get them into the game with some benefits and promotions. In the feedback section, there's a question of why I have to go through an extra step to purchase guild power. I'm not sure. We can look at the UX for that. We're also planning on like a larger guild revamp at some point. So it wasn't like necessarily purposeful. As far as high speed monsters in the game are too powerful, yeah, that's something we can look at with like future card sets. We typically, try to add new abilities or things to counter things that might be too good in the meta. So we have things like True Strike, but we can definitely look at, pushing that stuff even more in future sets and new cards. improving the battle card selection by removing and adding abilities in the rule set when applicable. Yeah, I think that was just something that has been overlooked. That's a very complicated screen. It's not so easy to make changes to that, but we're going to be adding some new things to that screen in the future. So I think there's opportunities to fix some of that stuff.
Yep.
And we stop implementing changes like the SPS staking one mid-season. Possibly. I mean, it's difficult because season ends are at certain times, and those don't always jive with what works for the company for getting out changes, like with people and internally. So I feel like it's a very short-term issue for long-term benefit of getting things out when it works best for us and we're most available to deal with it. So to me, it's worth it still to just work around our schedule and our people's schedule. And yeah, some things might happen mid-season. And considering the amount of SPS needed is fluid, why make the implementation? I assume this means for like renting a 7-day thing. Really, so there's a 7-day cooldown for delegating SPS, so it can't be less than 7 days. And as far as making it longer, we really just put out what was the like quickest and easiest thing we can do to get a rental market live. And that, just using the 7-day cooldown. If we try to make it longer, then we have to have this whole system of, people canceling rentals early and like paying out the right DEC and all these things. So it's like, it's just a huge, big project versus if we just use 7 days, which is already the limit for undelegating SPS, not DEC, then we didn't need to do any of that stuff. So that's why it's an initial version that we put out as quickly as we could, so we can have that available. And are we concerned about bots win trading their way to the top of the leaderboards with no collection power requirement? Possibly. And I definitely think that's something we can add to the terms of service along with the other changes we're going to be making for bots in Modern League. So, it's one of those things we'll have to look at and see how it goes. With that, I apologize that it's a shortened version today. I got to jump off, but I'll try to be on, in the not too distant future and talk to you guys more. Thanks, everyone.
Cool. Well, I think that would be about our queue. The one thing I will say, I did see it in there just so that Fat Jimmy does not have my head on a pike. Always on in-game notification system, the AOIGNS. I've said it enough times because we've talked about it internally enough times. It's part of a notification rehaul that we have going on right now. So if there was any questions that we didn't get to, we'll try to roll them over into the next one that we have. Don't forget that next week we do have our town square that will be happening to where people are able to get up and share their opinions and all of their things with us live. I believe that one is also going to be on Monday still. Yes. Monday, 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern, EST. You get to hang out with us nice and late on Monday. So yeah, so if there's anything else, feel free to send some messages here in the Discord chat. Otherwise, I believe that we'll call this to a close. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here. We definitely appreciate your time. And we also appreciate your energy and enthusiasm every single time that we show up to work. Thank you everybody. We appreciate you. Thank you. Bye.
When chaos reigns and hope is lost, when your darkest days aren't saved by the dawn, we bring the light to help guide the way. We are with you. We are the Rift Watchers. When your enemies have spread far and wide, when you're out of places to run and hide, follow the rules.